BJ from More Game Gumbo here. I've got my guest Adam Glass here from Lost Age Games, and we're talking about some spicy games, including a game they've got out on Kickstarter right now, Fugue. And this is a game, I don't always get to play Kickstarter games before they come out. A lot of times I do my lanyard section just based on stuff that I see on the internet or trading interview stuff with the publisher. But you and I hooked up at Gen Con, and I actually got a prototype copy, the second version. Tell the chat crew what's going on with Fugue. I mean, you guys are doing really well and almost funded already.
Yeah. Well, this is a relaunch. We had an earlier version. We actually had several versions until we found we really hit on the right solid idea what we were going for here. And the first version, we were kind of it wasn't doing so great on Kickstarter, and we decided to pull it down and just bring everything back to the table, take a look at everything, really, make some decisions about it, and
Steve's got the link there for the chat crew. If anybody wants to check out the project, he's got the link right up there.
Originally, it was a card game. It was card driven, and it really began as we were trying to do an 18 card game. And then just things just kind of got out of hand, and we needed play mats, and we needed these other things, and to really showcase how, to help player aids and different things like that. Then we kind of had this idea of just moving into the tiles, since we're sliding everything around so much anyway. We just went and played around with that. I think we used Carcassonne tiles as a prototype to kind of test things out, and see how we feel, and it worked really well. And like, wow, this might be the way to go, So we started going that direction, changed the art up, tweaked a few things, and here we are. We spent about 5 months. With promotion and audience building, and we needed to get a lot of reviews this time. We tried to go out and get as many reviews as we could, and we're pretty happy about it. And we're about, I think, last I checked, we're about 80% funded right now, and it's start of the 8th day. So
if I could give the elevator pitch, Fugue seems to be it's like a battle for control of the mind. All the different players are all battling the mind. And what I like is that 4-stage process. You have this idea in your imagination, and you're trying to make it come into vision. And then, of course, you want to score because it's a game. But that's really about developing that vision into a passion. And every time you have sets in the passion, they score. Now, some of them score better points than others, right?
Right.
But And sometimes you're stealing cards out of the discard, which I think you call the depths of the mind, the depth, right? And sometimes you're stealing those good tiles right out of the depth to try to get the good scores. But one of the things that we really liked is it has a lot of player interaction. And surprisingly, a lot of player interaction. For what looks like an abstract game, it's really all about watching all the other players and what they have in their imagination and in their vision and in their passion. Where did that idea come from to inject so much player interaction?
I think originally when we were designing the game, and this was about a year and a half ago when we were originally putting this together, my idea was sort of an alchemy type game where you would draw these cards and combine them together, and then based on what combination you had, it would create some kind of monster or something that would go into the play. It's almost like maybe a Magic the Gathering with minis or something, it would something like that. And I think it was Jason, the co-designer, when we were kind of developing this, and it's like, okay, we had three card sets and this combinations and things. And Jason called me one night and said, hey, what if we have an area that corresponds to each of these tiles, and then we just make or cards at the time. These 2 card sets, the first card will target something in this area, and the second card means you
Brilliant.
Pull it. It's like, wow, that actually might work. Let's give it a shot and see. I mean, and it kind of stripped away a lot of the thematic element of, suddenly now you're moving things around kind of positionally in this game, almost like in a chess-like way. But I thought I'd never heard of anything like that, and I thought that, boy, this is really something that we should develop and play with. And then here we are about a year and a half later. So that's where that came from originally. And I think the player interaction element was just it just came naturally. I mean, it wasn't necessarily intended, but it's just how it works with the mechanics. It's just kind of par for the course with that kind of a game. You have to pull, since all the areas are essentially shared areas in a way in the game. So
got a couple of people checking in. Marshall Wells from the Sinlaw group says, hey, sorry he's late. They were watching My Hero Academia. That one I don't know. Marshall, do you know that one, Adam? I'm not familiar with that one. You got me on that one. We got Matt checking in, and also Verla. Verla, we hadn't seen you in a while. Great to see you. Verla's the one who did that calendar for me. And Verla, you didn't get to see it. It's Junk Art this month. So, wow, very nice. Thank you for doing that. Brian Schultz checking in. He says, hey, Adam. Hey, Matt. If you guys have any questions for Adam about the game, I'll tell you, if Adam Weaver checking in. Oh, wait, we got a guest check. Jason Leonard checking in, the co-designer of Fugue. Jason, if you have any questions for Adam, just throw them up there in the chat.
Just let me know. I'll do my best to answer them.
And, of course, Chris Strain checking in. Chris, we missed you. There was a guy that wanted to talk to you a couple of weeks ago. Go back and check that show. Woody and them from Hutchu Games want to talk to you, so when you get a chance. So it's an anime game. Oh, I didn't know that.
Sorry, I had to plug my computer in.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so Adam, we were talking about Fugue, which is out on Kickstarter. It's almost out there, and it's almost fun. It's getting really close. One of the things that I liked is that you sent us an early prototype copy, I guess a year or so ago. I brought it to the people from the Southern Board Game Fest. We have a little thing that we do called GoPub, where publishers can come, designers, I'm sorry, can come and just play test their games with lots of people at the con. This was before the con started, though. We were looking at a couple of different games, and I brought yours. They made a bunch of notes, and one of the things that we weren't that thrilled about was the card play. You guys fixed that with the tiles, and let me tell you, Adam, so much better, man. I love the way the tiles interact, so much better than the cards, and yet they still have cool art on them. How close is the art to being final, or what we're seeing in these pictures is?
It's there. We're the only thing left is the rule book. I think is the final thing really that we have to do at this point.
The art, I saw someone on the Kickstarter page said it's evocative, it's mysterious, but yet it looks like what it represents. The spirits and all the different tiles all look like the different ones. But I saw something on the Kickstarter page that intrigued me. We hadn't seen this in our part. You have some plans if it funds pretty quickly and starts hitting some stretch goals for adding more fugues. And it's funny, when we played the game and leading up for the review, that's the one thing some of the guys said. It would be really cool if we had more than 4 fugues.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, we were throughout the development, we had some different ideas for things, and some things we, let's just kind of hold off on this one. Let's try to get the real core thing here, and then maybe we had brainstorming some pretty interesting ideas. So we have quite a stockpile of different fugue possibilities that we might be able to add on. And what I said in the Kickstarter, what I would like to do is stretch goals. That's great. If the game funds, we want to release these later, and they'll be, whether or not they get unlocked. We want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to check these out because they're pretty fun to use. The subliminal fugue, I think that's the one that we have up there right now, and then we have
the teal one looks pretty cool. Yeah, I heard a rumor that Fugue's theme, and it's funny, we got Bill Lasik in here, and we got a bunch of other designers, and all of the designers that are here on the show tonight all have designed unusual themed games, like Asking for Troubles. That's something you don't think about. Bill's game about koi fish in a pond, and then of course Fugue, this battle for control over the mind. All unique themes, but when you're talking about, I heard that a rumor that the Fugue idea sort of came from a director that I really enjoyed watching back in the 90s, David Lynch. Is that a true story, Adam?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. That's the first time I'd ever heard the word fugue was I was watching, I think it was Pretty as a Picture, which is this David Lynch documentary that came out around the time Lost Highway. And it focused a lot on Lost Highway. And one of the things he kept talking about was this idea of a fugue, and how the main character was experiencing a psychogenic fugue and a fugue state and fugue this. I'm like, well, what is this? You know, let me think about that. And then really, I mean, if you happen to see the movie Lost Highway, that sort of mind-bending, every David Lynch movie, you know,
sure,
like that. That's
Eraserhead. All those things are all just
that's kind of where, that's kind of the space we're trying to inhabit, I guess, with this game, you know, just kind of pulling things around, moving things around inside of a mind, and your four opposing identities. Which one is the real? I mean, in our copy, we said something like, you know, will you be the one who controls your mind? You know, will it be you or you or you or you? You know, you don't know who's who, but yeah, definitely. David Lynch was pretty big in my development, I guess, as an artist. I watched a lot of his films growing up, and Lost Highway, and
is there any way you can sneak in an homage to David Lynch into the game? Maybe a reference to pie or something. Something. Damn, that's some damn good pie, man.
I'll see what I can do.
That would be funny. Hey, there's a debate going on your Kickstarter page. And it's funny. It's the debate we had while we were playing the game. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the review or not, but the way that we played the game was the way that you had mentioned in the rule book, but has kind of changed back and forth internally from what I understand between you and Jason. So the way we played it is when the tiles move up, the order that you move them up doesn't matter until you decide that you want to lock in the sets. Because basically, the chat crew in Fugue, you're trying to match up tiles that have the same picture, like they're both imagination tiles, or it's imagination and a vision tile, because each one of those things will do something in combination. If you have imagination first, or the one I like to play, if you have depth first and then passion next, you're grabbing cool tiles out of the discard and moving them right into your scoring pile. And then if you can get 2 tiles in your scoring pile, depending on the hierarchy of scoring, which I had shown earlier, you're going to score points. But I saw there's a debate. Do you lock them in as you put them up, or do you wait until you get both of them and then you decide? I'll tell you, we liked it playing it where you decide, but I see people on the Kickstarter page saying something different.
Yeah,
there it is, Jason. Incredible cherry pie, man.
So originally, I think there was a miscommunication, I think, between Jason and I when we were designing, and we do a lot of our design in the early stages over the phone. So there was he was playing the game like you're describing, and then my idea for the game was you have this sort of locked in ability, like you create this locked in ability. If you have depth first, then that's what you're pulling from, and if you have passion second, that's where it's going to. So what I think that really you have an opportunity here to do the 2 different types of games, and I would say that I probably favor the more locked in abilities style personally. But I think, I mean, there's no reason why we wouldn't want to just include that other way in the rule book. And the main difference that you're going to get, and I think I may have stated this in the Kickstarter comment section, is the locked in ability way is going to make the games more brain burning, more strategic, more, you know, more puzzly. What are we going to do? And then the second way will make a game more flexible, more tactical, and generally faster. I think faster pace, and you'll have more options available as you're going. And I think that I would probably favor the locked-in abilities personally, but I think that we'll probably have that in there as a way to play. And I might say that would be an alternate way. And definitely, I think I don't think it changes anything about the core gameplay really of the game. So I think that it's definitely something that we would strongly consider including side by side in the game.
I saw another thing that you guys mentioned, that you can actually play this with more than 4 people if you get 2 sets from the Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's a throwback from the older version of the game that used cards. When we were testing it, we found out that you could actually, just by adding more sets, because originally this was going to be just a 2-player game and an 18-card 2-player game. But if you add more sets, and you could build off of that, and you could support 4 or 6 or 8. And there's just using the same, I think you would take out just a few tiles here and there, depending on how many players were playing. You could easily support a game up of 6. I don't know easily, but you could definitely support a game with more than 4 players. It might be a little confusing. There'd be a lot going on at the table, but you could definitely do it.
One of the things that Steve and I are always, the Name Father and I are always talking about offline, is how much we love small box games that are easily portable, but take a mechanic and make it into a big game, even though the game is small. One of my favorites is a game called Jiraku. It takes trick taking and it takes area control in a little tiny package, but it makes it feel like a big game. Let me get it real quick. So, is this going to be about the size that we're looking at if the game funds?
Yes.
Maybe Checker, you could see
be a bit wider, but it could be.
I actually put this in the back of my jeans pocket today when I was walking up the stairs to get into the studio. I mean, it's eminently portable, and that's what you're shooting for with a lot of your games, right?
Right.
And especially with this one. So, so the goal is to get this thing to be a travel-size game that does have this set collection, mono y mono, or even more if you play a 4-player version, a game in a small package, right?
Yeah. We really like the portability aspect. I mean, I'm a big fan of Love Letter, and I like how that game it was just so compact. Everything fit in the bag, and it was great. You could just take it with you anywhere. I think Jason really liked Avignon, the Clash of Popes, those button shy,
those little wallet games from
wallet size games, and I thought, well, maybe we could stand to have something like that ourselves, and that's kind of what that became.
All right, give the chat crew something, man. You got to give them something. What if you guys fund? What can they expect out of this campaign? Something, anything a little surprising? Any kind of hint? Something?
We haven't did any real talk about this, but we're probably going to have the bag will have the name of the game printed on it. And that's not something that we've really taught. All of our pictures of the prototype bags, they don't have that there, and so we've just kind of we haven't really wanted to try to CGI something like that on there, but yeah, they'll probably have the name of the game. That's a little hint, little surprise that we were going to do. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you meant, but
yeah, just anything, any kind of surprise. That's kind of cool, something to look forward to. But for those that are just joining us, I see a couple people just joining us. If it does fun, you have some plans in the works for some additional fugues that can maybe tweak the ones there.
Yeah, right now our funding goal is set. We're cutting it right to the bone. As far as if we hit this funding goal and that's it, then we'll be able to get a very small print run of the game. And if that happens, then in the near future we'll try to start releasing these fugue sets, which will basically just be a meeple figurine, potentially custom. And
Bill says, "Hey, with shelves getting so crowded out there, there really has been a push for smaller games. Going small box was a smart move."
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.